Hello. And we're back here doing the dishes again. You know, are you someone that takes the time just to stop? I always get a reaction when people realise that I don't have a dishwasher and I don't have a microwave. And some people even feel a bit sorry for me that I don't have, those items of convenience. And for me, we lived for a long time, centuries, without them. And decades and decades and decades in houses with electricity and that sort of thing, without them. One of the things I love about the dishes is that it's an opportunity just to slow down, to have a break, to breathe. We live in a society that promotes the value, of busyness. And so often when you go and meet with your friends and your whānau, your family, the conversation very quickly turns to your level of busyness and how busy you've been, and some workplaces, it's a badge of honour. Limited sleep, long hours, doing what needs to be done to get it done. And there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. As long as it's balanced. As long as it's acknowledged. And the opposite is done as well. That time to have a break, to reflect. Here on a more regular basis now, I take the time I turn off the Wi-Fi, purest of thought, and put the phone on airplane mode. And it's funny because the resonance and vibration of the house changes. It's a different. The place feels different, and the Wizard's Grove has a lot of magic to it anyway. But when you do that quite simple thing of just removing that frequency out of the air, the place lifts to another level. And again, it's that opportunity to stop. It's that opportunity to step back and breathe. For me, it's the opportunity to listen. And it's when you stop and listen, that's when you hear the magic. That's when you feel nature talking to you. It's when you feel and see nature sharing with you. And when you take the time to acknowledge that, to share your appreciation, from your heart, and to thank nature, to thank beautiful Mother Gaia. She reciprocates. And the conversation and the interaction and the connection, it happens more often, it gets stronger. And then at some point you sort of have this realization that you are all connected. We are all connected. Everything resonates, everything vibrates, everything has a frequency. Whether it's a big stone on the ground the chair that you're sitting in right now, you know, they all came, you know, that chair came from natural products. So it does have a resonance, it does have a frequency, it does have a vibration. And sometimes you just need to slow down enough and listen for long enough to hear that frequency, to hear that sound, to have that conversation. And the conversation comes from your heart. And when you start talking from your heart and with your heart, everything around you becomes a little different. And it's when you truly start to see the richness of the lives that we're living and the blessings that we carry. Sorry, bit of spray there. Anyway, much love. The dishes are done and it's time for me to move on with it in my day. Hey, look, like and subscribe and share. And we'll talk again soon over the dishes.